Welcome back to PTS CAD Expert and myself, Architect Kumar Kapadia from the city of Surat in Gujarat, and at the part of Revit Live BIM classes for the phase 2, that is parametric modeling. What all you have seen so far is there's different types of staircase, the parametric staircase, which are modeled with much ease and comfort as compared to other softwares. And for today's session, we are going to actually design this particular rail structure, this rail assembly, which if I just click this and go to edit type, then you can see that like other 3D families in Revit, that is an assembly of lot of 2D profiles. That is the 2D elements, that is the rails, that is the continuous horizontal element, and the vertical element, which is the 3D element, that is the baluster family, and an assembly of couple of nested families within which altogether make this family, this rail, this particular railing type. So you can see that this is the template file which designs the baluster, and these are the 2D profiles. These are the different 2D profiles, and all this are assembled together, which essentially make this particular railing assembly. Okay, so we are going to model this all from scratch today, and for that let's start and just go to architecture and click railing, and we'll draw a simple railing, handrail pipe, and I'll just go to edit type, and first what I'll do is that duplicate it, calling it PTS railing. Okay, now what we are going to do is that so first we are going to design that particular baluster with a C shape. Okay, so for that, if I just go to this file and click new and family, and under family templates English Imperial, I would just open this template file which says that baluster post. So it will open up this interface, which is pretty much like has this 3D drafting commands and various parameters, that is the top cut angle and the slope angle, bottom cut angle, baluster height, etc. Okay, so now I don't know why is it like that, but if you ever want to have a baluster which has some customization in its section, that is, if I just take a section from this, let me just go to level 1, and if I take a section from here and if I view this in section, then what all customization you want for baluster in this project environment, then essentially for that particular thing you have to model not in left elevation but in front elevation, and that is how it is. Okay, so we are going to do that, and once I load that into the project environment, then you will realize that what I'm actually trying to say that. So for this top post, I'll just get rid of it because I don't need it. We have this baluster height, which I will say that I want to be 3 feet 3 foot 6 inches, and I'm going to in the front elevation I'm going to drop create a reference plane. I'm just going to strike a dimension and call this a parameter, make this a parameter. It's called the base extension. Keep it as a type parameter, and by going to family types I'll change this to 8 inches. Apply and OK. Now we'll start creating that particular baluster post, and just clicking extrusion, it will ask me to pick a plane, and I'll just select this center plane, center front back. Okay, so since we are in the front elevation, so we are now in this drafting mode, and what I'll do is that I'll pick lines and just pick this top line, and it is automatically locked since the lock is checked. I'll just uncheck this lock, and I will click this, and then I'll click this, and I will lock this line, but I'll not lock this particular line. Okay, then I will say that I want this line to be locked as well, and I will offset 3 inches on the left. Okay, and just close this shape. Okay, now I'm going to select this center and radius arc. I'm going to click this point and this point, and hover and just make a simple curve and just make it some gentle curve. And again I'm going to offset this to same the 3 inches, sorry. And with split line commands, I'm going to split this line and close this shape like this and like that. Also I'm going to trim this line, and basically I don't need this line, so that's why I didn't lock. Okay, so for extrusion start I'm going to say that I want it to 0, 1, 2, 5, that is 1/8 of an inch, and extrusion end should be 0.375, that is 3/8 of an inch, and I'll just hit the checkbox. And now if you go to 3D, then you see that you have this metal plate which looks like this curve pattern, this curve section. Okay, I'll just go to I'll go to basically now the reference level. I'll just select this, and we have this command, copy to clipboard, and I'll paste align to same place. And with that, what I'll do is that make an duplicate copy of that particular element within the same place, and then what I'll say is just turn this values to negative. So now if I go to 3D, then we have this two particular plates which are essentially the baluster post. Okay, so now I'm going to load this into the project environment, and now it's that is loaded in the project environment. If I just go to balusters, then you see that we have this family 6. I'll just rename it, calling it guardrail post, guardrail curve post, and just copy this and rename here as well. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select this particular railing and go to edit type, and I'm going to uncheck this use stop rail because I don't want that. And in the rail structure, the reference is below the bottom or one of the, so essentially we need to first keep it checked and then change the reference of the balusters to rail 1, and from here to all this to rail 1. Apply and OK. And now you can just uncheck this, that is use stop rail. That is because the stop rail was referenced for this particular balusters as the top, and that's why it was not allowing to delete. So now I will go to this rail structure, and I'll just keep this rail 1 and get rid of all these other rails. And this rail 1 I want it at 3 foot 6 inches, and circular handrail 1 inch. Yeah, that's fine. Apply and OK. But for the balusters, I'm going to just drop down this list and find for our guardrail curve post. Okay, and the distance from previous is 4 foot. That's fine. And for all this also, I'm just going to select that particular baluster family that we had just made, and I click apply and OK. And let me just see it in left view. Yeah, so now you can see that this particular railing is now referencing that curve profile, that curve baluster profile that we just made here. But what is this height? Yeah, that is 3 foot 5 inches. So since now I don't need this particular family, so I could close out of it because it is loaded in the project environment and it is given a name and saved. So now if I just select this railing and go to edit type, and under the rail structure, I want basically a different rail profile which is right now referencing this circular handrail. Okay, so for that purpose I need to go to file and click new and family, and this time I'm going to open a different template file which says that profile rail, profile rail, this one. I'll just open it, and this is the interface wherein we can just reference a profile, and it is a 2D interface and not a 3D one. Okay, So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to draw a line and make it 3 inches. Yeah, that's fine. Just align it on this particular face. I'm not going to lock it, and I'm going to call it 3 inches. Move, and actually we are going to reference it from center. So yeah, okay. Now LI line, and I'll go 25 on the top, again 0.25 inch on the top, and for I'll go 1 inch on the either sides, 1 inch, and this should be actually 0.5 inch. Yeah, and now LI, and this should be 0.5 inch, and this should be only 0.25 inch. And now I'm going to drop as start and curve radius arc, and just make this just like that. And I'm going to load this into the project environment, project 1. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to hover look for this particular profile which says family 7. I'm going to rename this top curve rail profile. Top curve rail profile, yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to again rename this. Yeah, fine. And I'm going to edit this type, and I'll just edit this, and if I drop down this particular thing, rail 1, sorry, under this profile section, if I just drop down this, then you will see that you have this top curve rail profile, and just click apply, and you see that the particular profile is now there. If I just click apply and open, then you will see that that particular profile is entirely referenced along this particular railing. And if I just go to level 1, and yeah, the section is already there. So you see that it is referencing this particular profile, which we need to adjust properly, which you need to center it. So this is the intersection point. If you remember that this profile is hosted exactly in the center, so if you want to move it along this direction, that is, this is 3 inches, and this is 1.5 inches. So if we want this to position in center, then we would have an offset of say 1.5. Yeah, so now this cap is exactly on the top of that particular baluster, and just click apply and OK. Apply and OK. Okay, so let's see it in 3D. So now you can see that it is perfectly positioned in the center and is referencing along the entire part of the rail. So now let's create another part of this particular railing, and so if we have created the top part, then let's create one bottom part. And again we need to go to this file, and I'll just click new family, and I'll say that family templates English Imperial, and again I'm going to open up this same profile rail. Okay, but this is a different family. Okay, so let's just close this particular the unnecessary files we don't need anymore. So yeah, let's get rid of this particular family 6 and the unnecessary files which you don't need. I just want to close all that, and fine. And now what I'm going to do is that we are going to design a the bottom element, which would be essentially a C channel, which would be referenced along the entire path. So for that, I actually need to load a C channel, the 2D profile of a C channel, that how does it look like. So if I again go to insert and just load family, if I go to RVT 2022 and this libraries, English Imperial, if I go to this detail items, then under this metals and this structural steel framing, I have this AICSC channel shape section. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for. So if I open, then you have a lot of categories with different width and depth and different dimensions and all this properties which are essentially related to a C channel. I'll just select any one of this. Maybe I want this 11.5, 8 inches. That is okay. And now we have that detail item which we can actually use it for drafting a 2D profile. So basically we are just creating a 2D profile which would be referenced along the entire path, that C channel. Now I'll just create and modify and align that. I'm not going to lock anything, and just create the line, and I'm going to just pick lines and actually draw that shape. Okay. Okay, yeah. So once done that, I'll just select this C channel and just delete it because we don't need it. And with this, now I'm just going to load this into the project environment. And this, we will just call this C channel and properly name it so we can find it whenever we want or reference it to any of the 3D element. So now I'll just click this section and go to this particular edit type and edit type, and this should be rail 1, that should be top curve rail element. Okay. And now I'm going to insert another 2D profile which you are going to reference, and that I would call this a C channel. Fine. And I'll just drop down this list and I could be able to find this C channel and just click apply. But it is referenced, so we need to position it properly. So if I just go to this section, then we'll go to modify, then if we measure this to this line, it's 2/4 of an inch, but if I just go to, this is some ugly silly fraction. So what in this case we need to do is just go to reference plane and drop a true reference plane parallel to it, perpendicular to it, and just annotate and this one detail line draw from here to here, so we can have that particular dimension. Just copy it, delete all of this, delete this and delete this as well, and just go to edit type and edit, and for offset we will enter that particular value. So let's see whether negative or positive. Yeah, that's fine, perfect. And just click OK, apply and OK. And now let's go to 3D, and now you see that that particular C channel is referenced along the entire railing path. Okay, fine. So now we need to move on to the next segment. That is, if you just see this particular railing, then you see that it has a couple of intermediate rail elements which are being referenced and referencing along the entire path. And if you just go to see the making of this, then it is just like edit type and rail structure, and it is referencing so many profiles at some different offsets and different heights and different profiles they are referencing. So essentially we need to make that now. So what I'm going to do is that initially but before proceeding further, I want this to be extended a bit. So if I just go to this top curve rail element under profiles, top curve rail profile, and just go to edit, and if I edit that profile, then I wanted it to reference 0.5 inches on this side and move 0.5 inches on this side, and and also I'm going to move this as well. So now again let's create line and create this, okay, and that just load that into the project. Okay, fine. Or an existing version, yeah, that's fine. That is because I just wanted to reference have this a little bit of projection on both the ends of this particular top rail element. Okay, fine. Now let's start adding all the intermediate elements to this particular railing. So for that, what I need to do is that just go to detail lines, and from this I'm going to select this let's say just lines, and if I'm going to create a line from here to the top. What I'm going to do is that again going to that detail lines, I'm going to pick lines, and I'm going to select this curve and offset it exactly in the center, that is 1.5 inches, and that it will offset it from at this point. So now we need to divide this particular curve line into a couple of 8 to 10 segments, so that we can reference different profiles along that. We could have the height and offset which you can reference for that particular thing. So just click a detail line again, and this should move a bit above. So remember that in flooring also we always have some skirting, so by default the leg room is always to be left, and then you can do whatever you want to model. So just select this and array, and I will say this to second, and I'll just press 2 inches, and for the number I'll say just 10. Sorry, not 2 inches, I want it at every 4 inch. So just select this array, and with number 2 move to second. I'll just click here and move to 4 inches above, and for the number I will just type 9. One more, so let's say 10. Yeah, so now we have this particular intersection points, this 10 intersection points along which we can actually reference profiles, we can adjust it. So this is right now a group, a bunch of groups. So what we need to do is just select them and ungroup that. Okay, and now I will just snap to this center line. So now what we need to do is that dimension all this from this particular point to this line. Just place it, and let me just scale down. Yeah, so 2/1/8 of an inch, and likewise all the other 3, 11, 32, 4, 1/4. I'm just going to press UN and go to nearest to 1/4 is fine. Yeah, so we can actually use this dimensions to reference the profiles. Okay, also with this we need to add some of the height which we can use for reference. When I'm just going to dimension this 3 heights, and the rest all of this different parts are at 4-inch equidistance from one another since we arrayed it. Okay, so this is at the first element is going to position at 2-inch. Okay, fine. So we are actually going to reference a profile onto this. So let me just select this railing, go to edit type and rail structure, and just let me add one rail. I'm going to call it top I for short, intermediate top rail. Okay, and that should be at the height of 2-inch, and the profile should be right now let's just select this rectangular handrail 2x2 and let's see what happens. If we just go to click and apply, then it is referenced something here, and since its dimension is also 2-inch, so that's why we need a lower version of this which would have a less dimension than this. And yes, for the height also, of course, we need to add, if we're going to reference this particular profile onto center of this line, then we need to add whatever is the overall height of that profile, half of that plus this 2-inch. So if you're going to reference this rectangular profile, then let me just make the duplicate of this and call that let's call this 3/4 of an inch cross 2-inch. And by going to its type properties, let's have the height of 3/4, that is 1/4 inch, 0.75 of an inch, that is 3/4, and width is 2.2 inch. That's fine. So okay, and also for this particular if we are going to reference that on the center of this, then we need to add half of that 3/4 inch to this dimension. So let's go to rail structure, and the top rail should be at actually the half of 0.75 is 375, so 2.375 of an inch. Yeah, that is 238 of an inch. And for the profile, I'm going to say that I want this rectangular 3/4 by 2-inch, and just click apply and OK and apply. So now you see that, but we need to add offset of 2/1/4 also. So minus 2.25, that is 2/1/4 of an inch. Apply, OK, apply. Yeah, so now you can see that it is referenced exactly in the center of this particular railing. Okay, so now we will go on adding the rails, the intermediate rail elements at the specified distance. So now we are going to add the intermediate circular rail elements to this particular railing, and there are 8 of them. So let's just quickly create the 8 rail elements and insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to call this intermediate rail top 1, or just intermediate rail 1, and copy 2. Okay, and for this intermediate rail 1, the height is going to be the overall 6-inch, and we are going to reference a 1-inch circular bar onto this. So half of that, that is 6.5 inch, that is 6.5 will be the height. Just add that, and offset would be 3/1/4, that is 3.25, so minus 3.25, and the profile is going to be circular handrail 1 inch. Yeah, that's it. Just click apply, OK, apply. Yeah, see, and it is exactly referenced in the center of that. Let me just have a closer look to this, and yeah, that's fine. So likewise, let me add all the intermediate rail elements. So we'll just go adding 4 inches to this. So 6 plus 6.5 or 10 and a half, and minus 4.25 of an inch, and same. Let me just paste the same for that, all of that, and the distance accordingly 4/1/4 and then 5 inch. So minus 5 inch, 5/1/4, two of them referencing 5.25. Copy and paste, and then again 5 inch, 4.5 and 3/3/4. So again 5 inch minus 4.5 and 3/3/4 minus 3.75. 3/3/4, yeah, fine. And the distance should be likewise, we'll go and adding 4 inches to all of this offset. So 14.5, 18.5, 22.5, 26.5, and 32.5, and finally 36.5, and just click apply. OK, apply, and you see that till here it is fine. What is this distance? Let me just check. 210, that is, which rail is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and 8 are not referencing properly. So let's check what is the problem. 7 and 8. Okay, so this should be this 2 feet 2 inches, that is 24 and 2, 26.5. So this should be 30.5, and this should be 34.5. Let's click apply. OK, apply, and yeah, see. And let's quickly add the top element as well, which is actually going to be let's say, the top element is already added. So just press Ctrl C, make it bottom, since we started referencing from bottom, and let's go to insert and down, and this should be actually the top rail element, which should be at the height of say 2 feet 10 inches, that is 38.5. 38.5 plus 4 inches minus, we are going to reference this rectangular handrail 3/4 inch, and 3/4 is 0.75 inch, and 0.75 divided by 2, that is 0.375 of an inch should be deducted from this. So this would be actually, this is a little bit tricky, but once you will start practicing, you will get used to that feet and fraction. So 3 foot and 2.375 of an inch. Yeah, so that is 328 of an inch. Okay, and this is minus 2.75, minus 2.75 of an inch, and the profile should be 3/4. Yeah, so apply and OK, and apply and OK. So that is exactly positioned in center of that line. Okay, so now if you just go to 3D, and you will see that now your railing is completely referencing all the elements perfectly. including the C channel and the intermediate rails and the balusters. Okay, so one last thing is that just want this balusters to be placed at a bit 5 feet. Apply and okay, apply and okay. Fine. The importance of this is that now when I just go to architecture and let me draw some stair, some simple stair. Let me just select this 7-inch max stair and draw it, and from level 1 to level 2, and just click that. And for the railing section, if I just select our custom PTS railing and I would like to add it on stringers and OK, and just click, then you can see that this particular staircase is now referencing that particular railing. Okay. Not only that, if you just click railing and or let me just say that railing sketch path, and if you just select this curve and create some custom shape and just hit the checkbox, then you will notice that essentially you need to select that particular railing to our PTS railing, and you will notice that that particular shape has been drafted with that particular railing, custom railing that we just made, we assembled. Okay, so this was just the one time of work. Creating this was much of tedious work, but once we created it, we can also of course add the material part to this, material to the custom materials to each of these elements in the way you want, but it will now be referenced always in this particular way, whether it is stair or ramp or just a pathway. Okay, also we can add associate bracket to this particular thing, and for that I just need to go to the profile section and the profile which says not the profile but the balusters, yeah, so railing and the balusters and the guardrail curve post, just edit that. While in this, if I go to the front elevation where we drafted that particular profile, I'll just make a little bit of alterations and modification. That is, first of all, I'll just make a save as of this and save as family, and I would say call this with guardrail post with sunshade bracket. Yeah, and what I'll do is that I'll just drag this a bit, and I will edit extrusion, and then no, not edit extrusion, actually I'll create a new extrusion with that center front back selected, and I will just draft one all the way 4 feet, that's fine, and I will just take the center of this and join it somewhere arbitrarily right now, not going into the much depth of that, and fillet with the radius of say 3 inches. No, that's too much, so 1 inch, and of course create a drip mold, a drip course for the water to run off, and I'll just call this to be 0.1, the extrusion start should be 1/8 of an inch, and the extrusion end should be -375, that is, minus 0.375, that is -3/8 of an inch, or I'll say that this to be minus 0.125, that is 1/8 of an inch. I'll just hit the checkbox and let's go to 3D, and if I again go to reference level of this, oh sorry, so this should be here and this should be okay. And now if you go to 3D, then you have this element which you can actually join with this particular, both the rails, both the balusters. Okay, so now with this sunshade bracket, I will just load that into the project. Okay, and now I'll just copy this CEO, copy this bit far. And before that, one more thing that I want to do is that let me just go to this profiles, under profile section, this top curve profile which we made, top curve rail profile, and just edit that. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to create a reference plane essentially at 3 inches, and one more over here which is at 3 inch too. Let this intersect and create a line, not line but center curve, this here, and this I'll just mirror and mirror it like this. I forgot to copy. And I'll select this and mirror, and with copy checked, I'll just copy it from this point to this. Fine. And I will just make a save as of this as well. And this should be profile sunshade blade. And now we'll just load this profile sunshade blade on the project environment. And with this, if I just go to this particular railing, and if I just edit this and call this duplicate PTS railing 2, and we'll go to this particular baluster placement, and under this curve post I'll again have this with sunshade bracket. I'm going to select the same for all of them. Just click OK, OK, and fine. So now you see that you have this particular this blade, this bracket which is referencing along the entire railing. And let's add a couple of rail elements to this which could be actually a sunshade. So edit type, and we have already loaded that particular profile. What we need to do is just reference it. So insert, and we're going to insert a couple of, fine, I'm not going to rename, but going to say that the height should be 0 and the offset should be 6 inch, since you remember that this particular this blade that we added, this bracket that we added was 4 feet. So we will reference 6 of them at every 6 inches. 12, 18, 24, 30, and finally 3 foot. And for the profiles, we'll drop down and we'll be able to find our profile sunshade blade. Okay, just click copy, paste, yeah, and let's just see apply and OK, preview. That's added on the wrong side. So basically we need to enter the minus values for all of that. Apply, and I suppose that apply, OK, apply and OK. So see, So actually we need one more of it. So let's go to edit and add one more rail, which would be at minus 3 feet 6 inches. And just bring it down, and this to be also the profile sun shade blade. Apply and OK, apply and OK. That's perfect. Okay, so now if I just edit this path and let me draw and just finish, and let me convert this to that particular PTS railing 2, and while going to level 1, let me drop a floor architectural and pick lines. I'm just going to pick this outer edge. And offset it 4 foot to 3 Li. Just 3D. Yeah. So see, this becomes the pathway with that particular. Let me just change this to 6 inches. Oops, 6 inches. Okay. Apply. Okay. Fine. So this becomes that pathway, having that railing with curved post and sunshade bracket, which are having those sunshade blades. Okay, so this is just a one-time tedious work, but with now this made, you can use this over your lifetime from project to project with few alterations and few modifications. Okay. Also, there is one other type of railing which I wanted to share with you. That what if you ever want a railing that would reference a piece of glass or a glass panel along its entire path. That is, right now you can see that this particular stair is referencing this glass panel, but that is not actually a stair, but it is just that this under supports. If you go to this stringer, then this stringer has been given the material of glass, but that is not what I want. And ever since you want, then you cannot manufacture a glass in this particular dimensions, because glass always comes in some specific dimensions, that is 4 feet by 8 feet, or you have to design a panel for that, but you cannot have such a long continuous glass like this. What I'm talking about is this, that if you ever want for your any residential staircase or any staircase to have this glass panel that would repeat over and over, and which is bolted with this knobs or this bolt which are blending with this glass panel, then that could also be easily done in Revit, and I've already designed it. So I just wanted to share that with you, that how to make such custom glass panel with this particular design. Okay, so let's just start with that quickly. And for that, I would just like to bring to your notice that just like the existing railing that comes with Revit, then with glass panel bottom fill, it is basically this referencing a glass panel, particular glass panel which has that particular dimension, which is referencing over again and again. That if you just click this edit type, and under balusters you can have that regular baluster panel glass 2 feet 8 inches, and that is the glass panel that it is referencing, and that is why it is repeating over again and again. That if you go to this family section under railings, then you have this glass panel 2 feet 8 inches. If I just go to edit type, then it will open up the interface of the template file of that particular wherein that glass is modeled. And here if we just go to this elevation and left elevation, then this particular glass is modeled in this way in this particular elevation in this template file. So for this particular exercise I am going to show you by making a custom glass panel, and we are going to use this baluster panel for that, and it will open up the same interface which has the same parameters and the same everything, but it's just that I don't want to mess with the template file, that the file that comes with Revit, the family file that comes with Revit. Just close out of that and we will start the fresh new file, and just take this a bit apart until we can see all the reference plane properly. Also, I'm going to just move this way apart and the parameters as well, since I don't want them to distract us while modeling. Okay, so again, if you open up this dialog box, family types, then you have this default parameters for this template file which we don't need to change. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we'll go to create and we will create reference lines. Okay, reference lines, and it will ask you pick a plane. So since this is the left elevation, so we will select this center plane, center left right, and just click OK. And then I will just press this pick lines and I'll offset it to say 0.5 of an inch. Oops, I made a mistake. We don't need this. Okay. And then what you are going to do this, that very carefully select each of this reference line and snap it to the reference planes and lock them. We are going to do it for each of the ends. You need to be very careful while doing this, because if you happen to snap to something different, a different line, then you will end up into errors. Just lock that, and similarly lock this as well, and lock this as well. I guess that we happen to reference the center line on the offset the center line to wrong direction. So again I will just click create and reference lines and 0.5 of an inch and just pick lines and snap to the inside. Yeah, and then I will just select this and click to this point and lock it. Similarly, I will select this point, snap to this reference plane and lock it. Fine. So now we have this periphery onto which we can create or model something. I'll just create an extrusion, and with this center left right selected reference plane, since we are in the left elevation, I would just pick lines and pick all of this and this last one, and then just trim all the edges, the corners. And the most essential thing is that you need to select this, drag it, and again snap to that line and lock it. Same way for all the 4 lines. Drag it and lock it back to that reference lines. And for the parameters, I'm going to just say the extrusion start 0 and extrusion end should be shared parameters and glass thickness, and OK, and that's fine. And go to family types and change that glass thickness to 0.5 of an inch, apply and OK, and material should be glass. Okay, and I'll just hit the checkbox. Let's go to 3D, and you see that you have this particular, right now you cannot visualize its shape because it's slant, but you just press this, then the piece of glass is created. Okay, now we need to add that particular knobs or the bolts. Essentially for that we also need to create a couple of reference lines, since we want that to expand it when the glass expands. Okay, so just create and create the reference plane. I'm just going to pick it and I'm going to say 2 inches on either sides. Yeah, 1, and this to the inside, and all of this should have. Okay, fine. What I'm interested in just this intersection of 2 reference planes, and then I'm just going to quickly dimension them. I'm not going to assign any parameter to it, but I'm going to log this, just making sure that they would always remain locked to that external reference plane. And this I don't need to dimension because we have already did it here. Okay, and now I'll just go to create an extrusion, and for the extrusion I'm going to use this circle and 0.3/4 of an inch and 0.3/4 of an inch. And for the extrusion start I'm going to say that negative 0.125, that is 1/8 of an inch, and extrusion end should be 6 to 5 of an inch, that is 5/8 of an inch, and this should be essentially metal. Yeah, and just hit the checkbox. Now let's go to the reference plan or the floor plan. Let's see that whether, yeah, it's positioned perfectly, no issues. So now the last and final thing before loading it into the project environment is that just to test out whether everything is working perfectly or expanding perfectly or not. So let me just go to this family types and change this width to 3 feet and the baluster height to 3 feet 6 inches. Apply. Yeah, and you see everything moves parametrically, even this particular bolt. Okay. If you ever want to add one more bolt to the top of this, then nothing you need to do is you just need to offset and create and reference plane one more and just pick lines, and that should be again 2 inch above this reference line, and find the intersection of this with the perpendicular reference line and just create an extrusion, and again one circle. That should be 3/4 of an inch, and I'm not able to, yeah, and rest all everything fine. Yeah, okay, so I'll just move this here. Now let's test out again. If I just change this width to 2 feet 6 inches, yeah, so everything moves perfect. Just 3 feet, apply, and okay. And then with this family 15, I'm just going to load that into the project. Okay, and what we are going to do is that let me just delete this, and family 15, yeah, I'm going to rename it, going to custom glass panel, copy and rename, paste over here as well. Yeah, fine. I'm just going to select this railing and draw a simple handrail rectangular. I'm going to finish. I'm going to select this rectangular railing and going to edit type and just duplicate this, calling it custom glass panel railing. Just click OK. And for the balusters, I'm quickly going to say that for this particular, I don't want any of this, and top rail element to be the host, and I'll just make all of this 0 since we don't need it. And yes, most essential here, I'm going to reference that particular custom glass panel that we have made, and base host, base offset 0, top. For that, from the top rail element, I'm going to change it to host and give it a top offset of 3 foot 6 inches, that is the height of the baluster, and 1 feet, oh sorry, 18 inches, that is 1 feet 16 inches, 1 feet 16 inch, 1 feet 6 inches and 18 inches as well. And with this all modifications, I would just say okay. And for the rail type, we don't have any rail, but I would also like to uncheck this top rail element, because for the balusters, the top offset, we have selected the host and the top offset to 3 feet 16 inches, so we can get rid of this. Just click OK. So oops, I think we made any mistake in the creation of the family, and let me go to that custom. Oh, we have it already open, but okay, that is the family 15, so let's just close that, because we already have that in the project, and we can actually open that and see that what is the problem. And let's quickly go to the elevations and left elevation, and oh sorry, we forgot to dimension this and log this as well. So just modify and give it an align dimension and lock it. Yeah, that's all what you need to do, and just load that back into the project, override existing version, and you see that you have all your bolts perfectly in place. Fine. Let us just try to reference this particular railing on the staircase. So I will just say that I want both of these railings to be the custom glass panel railing, and yeah, so you see that everything is fine and perfect. What we just need to do is that reference it on this side of the stringer beam. So for this, I'll just select the offset to be 2.5 inches negative. That is because the width of this stringer is 2.5, so that's why it might work. Yeah, and just by going to this particular railing, I will say that for the baluster placement, I want this base offset to be -6 inches. Apply, okay, apply, and everything works perfectly, and we have that baluster designed perfectly in place. Okay, so that was all the customizations related to this particular railing. And now if you just go to this file, then you will see that essentially we have covered all these different types of staircase and this particular railing, and the parametric modeling related to this circulation panel, and how we can customize and make such a custom parametric staircase and railing. So if you want to get to the scratch of this and basics of this, that how this parametric modeling is done, then hop into the course and kindly enroll for the course. Let's meet one-on-one and let's learn together and let's grow together. Okay, so see you soon, and wish you everyone a very happy Diwali and prosperous new year, and may this year brings your all dreams come true.